YouTube, Awesome Rider here. Welcome to my review for Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger episode 48, our penultimate episode, and it was a great episode, a great penultimate episode, with the exception of the last couple minutes, and then just sort of a general feeling of, Gigi's plans being unfinished. This actually could have been basically a finale, because it defeated the Toji Gento, and the book was basically closed on them, and the next episode almost feels like an epilogue for this secondary villain. Not secondary villain, but you know what I mean. To get this tidbit out of the way first, you do have Stacy and TwoKaiser defeating Stacy's dad. This is the second time I've seen a character defeat their abusive dad in the last 2 weeks. Between that and Peacemaker, it reminded me of that, except a lot less good. You defeat him, and you have kind of nice moments with both of them where Stacy's like, oh, I'm going to protect what I found, and then TwoKaiser's like, oh, treasure's more than just treasure, it's also family. And he did this dramatic transformation, and I'm so glad he didn't do the dance. He got up after being demorphed and he was going to morph. I'm like, dude, this is a really emotional, badass moment. Please do not do the lame dance. Seriously, do not. And he didn't do it. Thank God. Bottom line is while the other main stuff going on, it's almost like a little side story, and they defeat him. And I just wanted to mention that before I forget it, because the other main stuff is kind of the A-plot of the week, which is the Zenkaigers going up against Bokuas, who is, first of all, he finds out Gigi's betrayed them, because Gigi's hit him in the back, it's his weak spot. And then he's like, can't believe everybody betrayed me, I fed up with this world, and he smashes the little bird, but obviously that doesn't kill him, because he's kind of I guess, this ghost thing that can just possess people anywhere. But then he transforms into his final form after having absorbed all the worlds, and it's just this tiny little thing, and it's really funny because that was the first thing I thought of. I'm like, oh, it's a tiny size, and then right after I said that, Juren said, oh, he's tiny. Mainly because when he's transforming, he starts pulling his arm out of the wall thing and it starts crumbling, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be kind of cool because it's going to reveal this huge monster behind the wall, and then it becomes this tiny thing, which made sense for the fight they went for, but a little anticlimactic, and I like that they addressed it. But basically, when they're fighting him, he's actually using the powers of the Sentai worlds he's absorbed, which it'll show a little ranger helmet on the chest, and he uses the powers of the Beast Morpher's vault to use various weapons from those teams to defeat the Rangers, and he actually succeeds in defeating them briefly, and their gears are destroyed like a power coin after Rita Revolto attacks you. And they don't know what to do, but then they're like, we may not be Power Rangers. Well, we're not Power Rangers, but we still have power. And then they do their helmetless roll call. Pretty epic and classic inspiring moment of Rangers that are depowered but continue to fight anyway. And I guess the spirits of the Sentai trapped within him sense that, and then all the logos come and restore their powers. It's kind of one of those cheesy, non-explainer things, but it was kind of more of a meaningful moment. And when they restore their powers, they turn into the new versions of the Gears from Dawn Brothers, which was actually really cool, and I actually really liked that because of the way we have these continuing elements in Dawn Brothers. Makes me just really curious how this all is going to tie together once we get the two series together, but I thought that was really cool. Even though it was a little bit of a non-explainer moment, I really like this moment because I think it kind of drove to the heart of the spirit of Super Sentai, because they talked about those that came before us, the previous Sentai, fought in moments like this and they never gave up, and we won't either. And I thought that was a good moment for this type of series being an anniversary series and celebrating the spirit of Super Sentai like that. And it reminds me of one in particular point I have about Zenkaiger as an anniversary series that I'm going to save for the series review, because I think that there was a really huge missed opportunity in this regard, but in this moment I thought it was really well done. But they morph, and then when they take him out, they don't get new powers or anything. It's like the ninja coins. They have the same suits. It would have been kind of cool if Zenkaiger was the new coin, turned him into Zenkaiger Black, but I know that's supposed to be an AU version or whatever. But anyway, when they take him out, it's this really brutal, badass takeout, because you have Zenkaiger in the front with his finisher in the power-up form, and then in the back you have them using the Zenroku cannon, and they basically blast him from the front and the back point-blank range. It's pretty awesome. And they defeat him there. There's no mecha battle or anything. And then at the end, TwoKaiser and Stacy are talking, and they're like, well, this is over, but clearly Gigi has some plans. But then, just at that moment, Gigi possesses TwoKaiser. He's like, never mind, I'm going back to Pyro World. And Stacy catches on immediately and goes to warn everybody. But as everybody's celebrating, oh, the Toji Gento's done, we're all free, Navi collapses, and Kaito's like, oh, we probably just ran out of batteries. But it turns out Gigi's also possessed Kaito, and he takes him to the base and activates this thing, which I think it seems to capture all the worlds again, and they're all captured, and that's where it ends. Huge cliffhanger. Now, I'm going to assume that he possessed TwoKaiser and got him to Pirate World and then came back and possessed Kaito, and that he can't possess... Can he possess multiple people? I don't know, but that was really interesting. It was an unexpected ending. I knew the stuff with him wasn't going to be finished, but the fact that he possessed TwoKaiser, just a minute ago, did not prepare me for him possessing Kaito, which was really nice. And like, I'm really interested to see how it ends next week because I thought this was a strong episode. But imagine if this had been the finale. Like, I know that the Don Brothers stuff seems to be a little bit different, and we like the versions of the characters we are seeing might be AU versions. With that being said, I think we're going to see the main versions at some point. But setting all that aside for a second, imagine if this was the ending and it was kind of a cliffhanger into Don Brothers. That would have been so freaking cool. Like, I'll have kind of more thoughts on that to see how next week ends and how Don Brothers starts and how they ultimately tie together. But man, that would be so cool and almost revolutionary for Sentai to end on this kind of downer note and then leave it up as a cliffhanger for Don Brothers to solve in one of its first big arcs. That would have been so cool. But setting aside that speculation and going to Don Brothers, which is something totally new, because usually when I'm talking about the finale arc of a Sentai, I'm not talking about how it's going to affect the next series, because they restart the continuity every year. This was just a strong penultimate finale feeling episode. The stuff with TwoKaiser and Stacy was good, but I think most of all my favorite part of the episode was the Zenkaiger's final fight against the big boss of Toji Gento, because, I mean, not only was it a cool fight and it had that good classic moment that I'm a sucker for of the character standing up despite not being powered, and I also, again, liked the moment of them having the new gears, but I think I really like that they tied it back to the spirit of Super Sentai, because I think that's much more of a meaningful anniversary celebration moment, which is celebrating what the heroic traits of Sentai and Sentai's legacy is. That's much more meaningful of a celebration for me than shallow stuff like, oh my god, they turned into another character, oh my god, they summoned a suit. Like, that stuff's all shallow for me. And this felt more like something meaningful. And again, I have some thoughts on something regarding that I'll be talking about in my series review, but I thought it worked really well in this episode. A strong 4 out of 5 episode, good penultimate episode. I'm really looking forward to the finale because I want to see... I feel like I'm really curious how it's going to tie with Don Brothers, but I feel like it's going to ultimately disappoint me. But we'll see. But what did you guys think of the penultimate episode? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell. See notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.